And then we finally got some bloody payoff on Robert Stone and what he's been doing in NXT. So the match was made last week. Obviously, Robert Stone and Aliyah cost Shotzi Blackheart her match against Indy Hartwell, who has disappeared back into the NXT jumble sale of random talents they've signed. Stone comes out with a big boot on and is hanging around on the steps. Shotzi runs out and her tank hits the steps as she normally does, but that knocks Robert Stone off. So there's a bit of a tease of like the animosity between them there. Aliyah tried to roll her up in the corner, put her feet on the ropes, got caught out. That's when Stone then got up on the apron and got kicked off by Shotzi, ends up crying on the outside. And that's when Shotzi goes up and hits her huge senton to win the match. After the match, though, this is where things get interesting, because this felt like every other Robert Stone match up until this point. It's like, isn't it funny how his leg hurts because he got run over in a vehicle by somebody? And then Shotzi decides that she's going to run over his other leg, his good leg, with the tank.
Total face.
Babyface move, man. Massive babyface move. It's great to see people who didn't ask for anything get their ankles shredded by a tank. But in the process of driving over his legs with the tank, she gets out and she's sort of screaming in his face, and he's asking Aliyah to help him up. Martinez runs out and just kicks Shotzi in the face to knock her off, and then just walks off to the back. So she's just decided to help out Robert Stone here. We then saw later in the episode, and we'll go over it now, they're backstage, kind of, I'm assuming, icing his ankle quite seriously, both of them. And Mercedes comes up to Robert Stone and says, look, I'm looking for someone who's going to handle all the rubbish stuff that I don't want to do, which is, the booking of the matches and the talking to people and all of that kind of stuff. I want to do the bit that I'm good at, which is the fighting. Makes perfect sense. I mean, Robert Stone did manage to get Killian Dane that match against Dexter Lumis, so he has a proven track record of being able to book matches. This is it. Like, Robert Stone actually might be one of the better managers in NXT. I think he's also the only manager.
Yes.
Currently.
Well,
NXT.
I mean, like, you've got the Malcolm Bivens, but after the whole Indus spoiling the double champion thing, I don't think you're going to see Indus for a little bit. I think they're in timeout. They did a boo-boo.
Yeah. Yes. That is preposterously dumb, isn't it? But we'll move on. So I think this pays off really well. And I think they're going to I imagine they would do friction between Mercedes and Aliyah, because Aliyah quite liked being the only member of the Robert Stone brand. I imagine she's going to get booted out
the biggest star in the Robert Stone
yeah,
brand.
Exactly. I imagine they'll kick her out quite quickly, and then Mercedes can kind of just be Robert Stone's only project. I think the pairing's really good as well. Like, I think Mercedes Martinez is great. I think giving her a manager sets her apart from Shayna Baszler as well. And I think those the lazy comparisons that people will make, myself included, that does actually give her something else about her, and it does make her more of a prize fighter style character. I think this could be really fortuitous for both Mercedes and for Robert Stone. I think Aliyah is going to come off worst in all of this, but it's nice to see it actually pay off. Like, it's nice to see. We've not been hot on the Robert Stone stuff. I don't really think it's been that funny. I actually just feel sorry for the guy, both the man behind the character and the character, most weeks. So it's nice to see Mercedes join, and I'm hoping that actually gives him purpose and starts to straighten out the edges of this character and make him a really serious mouthpiece for someone who is surely going to be one of the top stars of the women's division going forward, because she's so good. So yeah, I'm really excited for this.
I get kind of like original run Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar vibes from this, which I'm totally down for. Robert Stone has been a mostly comedic character, but the guy can really talk. And I think, it just makes sense from a kayfabe perspective, just like being like, I just want to train and fight and hurt people, and you can handle, the admin. I get that. I wish I had a Robert Stone to handle my admin. But yeah, it's a really interesting pairing, not only because they're a slightly different mix in personalities, but also I thought a really nice ultimatum that Mercedes Martinez delivered to Robert Stone, which is, I'll join the brand, but stay out of my matches, basically. Just like, don't overstep your boundaries.
Or I'll break your legs.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like, don't turn my matches into comedy Robert Stone matches, or I'll cripple you. I was just like, that's really fun. Because like, yeah, can Robert Stone resist getting involved in his clients' matches? I think that's a really interesting little push-pull. Well, again, whilst Aliyah is sort of like the younger child that is kind of like left out in the cold.
Look, to be fair, we're saying all this is really positive and really good stuff, but it's probably leading to Robert Stone going the of his life, like probably going to be chucked into a landfill by Mercedes Martinez as the ultimate sacrifice. We're actually run over by a full-size Panzer. Like this, we're going to get. This is probably just the setup to a more elaborate joke that NXT is going to do. Like, I'm not confident in this, but I hope that they turn Robert Stone and the brand itself semi-serious and really give it time to shine through. You know, what I'm hoping is a really big push for Mercedes Martinez. And you know, I think that's the best way to do it. I don't think the best way to do it is just to carbon copy what they tried to do with Rhea Ripley and Robert Stone's interactions, which is, look, Rhea's beat up a boy and she's put him in the bin. Isn't she cool? I think it's actually nicer that, you know, that you can have an antagonistic relationship between Stone and Martinez, but it should be through success, and it should be through, you know, her winning her matches and Robert Stone successfully setting up more matches for her, but they should have friction there because he's a bit of a goof. That's fine. I just don't want to see him put in any more bins because that joke has run its course.
Isn't it nice to be able to honestly feel, ooh, I wonder what Robert Stone will be up to next week?
I know, yeah. Full body. Well, once Martinez is through him, a full body cast will be the next one, I assume.